So far, my journey as a creator, I've garnered 16 million long-form views and 193,000 subscribers, and my life is completely changed. I went from working these entry-level jobs that left me drained and unfulfilled and socially isolated, to waking up and doing what I love most, which is just learning about and talking about the things I'm interested in. I now have complete time freedom, location freedom, creative freedom, and because of what I do and building my personal brand, I've attracted other like-minded people both online and offline. And on top of all that, I've cracked the code to make more money than 99% of creators my size, and I'm here to tell you that you can do the same. Because throughout my years of experience, I have carved out the 4-part path that will turn you into not only a successful, but an authentic creator. This is the path of the digital sage. The vessel, the model, the mechanism, and the business. The demand for digital sages is only increasing. The creator economy is poised to double by 2027, according to Goldman Sachs. And as people lose their trust in things like media and education, they are turning to the internet to seek out these teachers. So next time you think, oh, YouTube, oh, creating is oversaturated, think about what I just said. Speaking of YouTube, that is the vessel. YouTube is changing. Success is no longer determined by being early to a trend or a platform or making brain rot content for children. Why'd I say it like that? Because people crave connection and authenticity. You would be shocked how many people go to YouTube and they're not there to watch girls dancing to TikTok songs or Family Guy clips next to Subway Surfer gameplay. And the core reason why YouTube is the best vessel for this path is the same thing that all the creators seem to complain about all the time. The algorithm. Because most creators do not understand how the algorithm functions. They think, oh, the algorithm isn't serving me and my goals. It hates me. It's biased. It's this evil force against me. Well, that is because the algorithm doesn't exist to serve the creator. It exists to serve the viewers. Earlier in my journey, I did not understand this. I would upload these videos and they would flop and I'd get so mad. I'm like, oh, the algorithm is suppressing me. It's the Matrix. It's the Illuminati. When in reality, I just didn't yet understand how to make compelling content for an ideal target audience. But then I learned that the YouTube algorithm works relentlessly to pair a viewer with an ideal piece of content. So once you learn how to package and deliver your piece of content in a way that will fit the mold of this ideal viewer, all of a sudden the algorithm is on your side. And what this really means is you are only 2 to 3 decent videos away from 10,000 subscribers. Take this video on the screen, for example. With decent storytelling and teaching, I got 314,000 views that converted to 5,200 subscribers. You are one video away, decently performing. It didn't even have to get millions of views, from 5,200 subscribers. YouTube isn't even 20 years old, and over 1 billion hours of content is consumed, not every month, not every week, but every single day. Why not you? Each individual view on YouTube is inherently more valuable than any other social media platform. Because think about when you're scrolling on TikTok, Instagram Reels, or Twitter, think about the value of your impression on there. Most of the time, you're only staying on one piece of content for 1 to 3 to 5 seconds, compared to YouTube, where when people go on the platform, they are prepared to spend 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, even over an hour with just one creator. But even if you do want to eventually become a multi-platform creator, you will have an infinite content glitch because of your long-form YouTube videos. The most impactful quotes, tips, stories can then become short-form pieces for tweets, TikToks, Instagram posts. Your best video transcripts can be converted into a newsletter for emails, because you can lose a platform by getting banned, but you'll never lose an email list. Your audio file can be uploaded to podcast platforms, and your most valuable bits throughout all your content can eventually be culminated into hour-long, 2-hour, 3-hour-long full guides. But if you're still thinking YouTube might be too competitive, well, 80% of your competition will not be able to keep up with you once you understand part 2, the model. Personal brand. Having a strong personal brand, regardless of the actual size of it, is an instant status boost both online and offline. Even back when I was a gamer and I had like 500 subscribers, all my gaming friends thought it was so cool that I did what I did. And then I got into the fitness industry, grew my brand some more, and I started getting recognized, started getting opportunities, started to work with other people because of my little fitness personal brand. And now that I've built this undeniable personal brand and business, I now just elicit this higher level of respect from others by default. And it's opened so many doors for me in terms of opportunities and friendships. It's 100 times easier to find your tribe when you're constantly sending out bat signals online to attract like-minded people. But there's one reason why everyone from suburban moms to the richest man on earth desires having a strong personal brand. social leverage. So there's 5 levels to a marketplace, and this marketplace could be about money, it could be about attention, it could be about opportunities. It applies throughout. The bottom level is you succeed because you're the first. Then it's because you're outworking the competition. Then it's because you show others how it works, whatever you're talking about. Then it's because you're better than the competitors. But lastly, you succeed because you're you. There's a reason why people go to Joe Rogan to buy a brain supplement than going to Amazon to buy one, even if the Amazon option is cheaper, because they're not just buying that supplement for the price, the benefits, the ingredients. They're buying it because it's Joe Rogan's. But look, I know the biggest thing that people struggle with content, personal brand is I don't know what to talk about, or I don't know what I should talk about.
All right, so grab your pen and paper or your document or your napkin with a crayon. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your 3 biggest interests and just put them in 3 big ol' bubbles. Somebody use me, for example. I'm really into psychology, philosophy, and business. So you have your big 3. For some of you, it might just be 2. For some of you that are super narrow as a person, it's gonna be 1. And then underneath these big 3 bubbles, you will write all the little subtopics, your sub-interests that fall underneath that interest. So for example, with psychology, it could be things like persuasion, the subconscious mind, mental health, confidence, things like that. Under philosophy, it can be things like stoicism, religion, spirituality. Under business, I could put things like marketing, brand, product development, things like that. And you're gonna get a bunch of these little sub-interests. And then what you'll find is, even when you look at these sub-interests, there are like sub-interests with those. You know, stoicism, I could probably break down into 10 different things when it comes to stoicism. And then all of a sudden, you're gonna have a massive list of things that you can talk about, things you're actually interested in. And over time, what you're gonna learn how to do is mesh some of these things together. Maybe I want to talk about psychology and self-awareness, but then I also talk about meditation and the Stoics. So I just blended some of my psychology interests with some of my philosophy interests.
But while most people do get the vessel and the model down, this next thing is something that 99% of people don't understand to death, and that is the mechanism. Psychology. Speaking, writing, selling, editing, branding, storytelling, persuading, influencing is all psychology. While most creators spend their days stressing about an algorithm that they cannot control, there is an algorithm that you can not only control, but exploit to your fullest advantage. That is the human algorithm. This is going to put you ahead of at least 80% of creators because most of them just rely on little trends and tactics in order to garner views. And the core skill within psychology is going to be persuasion. And I know when you hear that, some of you may have alarms going off in your brain like, oh, persuasion, bad. That's like manipulation, right? That's like selling, right? Well, no, because not only is persuasion the key component in brand, in business, in content, it is the key component in almost all human interaction. You are always trying to convince someone of something, even if that someone is yourself. You are always persuading. And if you want to make your interests interesting to others, you need to learn how to persuade them to care. I didn't understand this at first. I had all these topics that changed my life that I wanted to start talking about, and I did by making self-improvement videos, and it wasn't having the same impact on these people. And I was just thinking, well, this stuff changed my life. Why is it not changing theirs? Because I didn't implement effective persuasion in my content. Flash forward to now, I am constantly getting comments, emails, DMs about how a specific video I made went on to change one of my viewers' lives. And that's not just because of the information I provided, but because I persuaded them to take action. And while this rabbit hole goes very deep, here's a very simple formula you could do starting now to make yourself infinitely more persuasive in your content. You need to create an image of your ideal viewer, and it needs to be specific. You need to have a specific age, where they live, their occupation, what they do in their free time. And then when you're talking to the camera, you need to visualize that person. If you're watching this so far and you've been really resonating with me, it's because I am literally talking to you. And then when you have this image in your head, when you're going to make a video, you can ask yourself these 3 questions. What can I say to make myself likable and trustworthy to this viewer? What stories, opinions, perspectives can I share that will elicit emotional reactions from the viewer? And how can I back up the things I say with logic and reasoning that will appeal to the viewer? Trust me, doing that little exercise alone is going to convert just a random viewer into like a super fan of yours, and they're going to subscribe, they're going to go watch other videos. But like I said, there is so much more to this when it comes to content, persuasion, brand, and that's why I've spent the past 7 months creating Audience Alchemy. It's a full 6-week mastermind with me on how to create compelling content, build an undeniable personal brand, and a hyper-profitable solo business on the back end. But look, it's not actually out now, so I don't know why. I'm just kind of teasing you, to be honest. But if you're interested in that, you can join the Alchemist list in the description, or if you got that thing, the video planner I talked about earlier, you'll be on the list. Or if maybe you want to get let in early, DM me on Instagram. But look, this final part is going to turn away a lot of people because a lot of people just have limiting beliefs or negative beliefs when it comes to money. And that's fine. I really don't want to waste your time explaining why making money is okay and why being a starving artist is not cool. It actually sucks. But I know you know that there are tons of ways to make money off of a personal brand and through content. You know, you can have your sponsored segments and videos, you can have affiliates, you can have paid communities, things like that. You get ad revenue, obviously. But there is one business that shines above all else, especially if you want to become a digital sage, and that is through digital assets. So imagine you just spent the past year of your life building a house. You put a lot of money, a lot of effort, a lot of learning how to build a house into it, and you just build this awesome house, and now you finally get to sell it, and you go ahead and sell it for, I don't know, $500,000. Well, after you sell it, because it's a physical asset, it's gone. You only had one of them. All that time and effort and building you did is gone now. I mean, yeah, you got paid for it, but you only get paid for it once. A digital asset is similar. You still put a lot of time and effort into building it, but once you build it once, you can sell it infinitely. So all you really need to do is continue doing what you're doing, you know, learning about, talking about your interests, finding what works best for your audience, and then eventually you'll have the knowledge required to build a digital asset and offer it to the people that are interested in your audience. But there's a lot more that goes into this that I just can't fit into this video. So if you click the video on the screen right now, I talk about how I pretty much accidentally made 10K in a month through this digital asset model, and I'll break it down step by step for you to copy me essentially if you want. So click the video on the screen right now. Please comment if now you're inspired to become a creator. I'll even click on some of your channels and go check out some of your stuff if you're uploading videos already. Okay, that's it. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.